As far back as I can remember, I was always told that real estate was one of the best ways to create financial freedom and build wealth. Well, in this video, I'm going to share with you 6 things that you should know or things that you should do if you plan on investing in real estate. But before we jump into that, a little bit of housekeeping. I'm Chris Nelson with Genstone Realty, and this channel is all about real estate tips, advice, and tech. So if any of those excite you, you're in the right place. And if you find any value in this video, do me a favor, drop me a comment, hit that thumbs up, consider subscribing, and mash that bell so that you're notified of my future content. But for the most part, if you follow along these simple steps, you should be able to start your very own real estate investing. Step number 1. Step number 1 is just a matter of paperwork. What you want to do is create an LLC or an S Corp or any other type of business entity that you can register with your state. Now, there's different reasons on why one may want to have an LLC versus an S Corp, but those semantics we're not going to go over in this particular video. However, get yourself set up with an LLC and also create a business account. If you can, also get a business savings account and also set your business up with an email, and if you can, a website. Do everything you can to create some type of legitimacy for your business. And later on in this video, you'll find out exactly why it's important to have an LLC, aside from one of the other beneficial parts, which is avoiding liability. Number 2. All right, now this has been one of my biggest challenges as a real estate investor, but that is meeting and vetting legitimate contractors. Everyone wants to put their hand up and tell you that they can do the job when, in all honesty, they're just looking for a payday and you're the sucker who's probably going to pay them. When I vet contractors, there's a few different things that I look for. Obviously, right off the bat, is I look at what can they show me as far as what they've done thus far. Maybe they have previous projects that they can show photos of, or preferably someone that they've worked with in the past who I can spend a few minutes with on the phone and actually pose some questions about how that process went. I also make sure that any contractor that I work with is legitimate. They're insured, they're registered with the state, they actually have a work truck and tools, and they're not just someone's friend. But one of the biggest things that I've learned is you want to find a contractor who's able to have skin in the game. And what I mean by that is your contractor should be able to start a percentage of the job without having a significant down payment. Now, of course, some contractors are going to want payment just to get supplies going, which is totally understandable, but they should be able to front load some of that work. One of the biggest challenges I've had is actually having contractors not have skin in the game. And when they're operating off of my money, it's very easy for them to not show up or delay the project or maybe even go on to a bigger job because, again, they're not really working with any of their own capital. It's all my capital. And if they don't show up, it's really my problem. So make sure you're vetting contractors, you're having conversations with them. And when you put the contractor on the job, make sure that you're following up. And by following up, I don't mean phone calls. Visit the property when they're supposed to be there. Do it weekly. Walk through the property with them. Identify problems early on, because at the end of the day, every day you're paying interest, which is money out the window. So make sure that you're properly managing your project. The third thing you want to do is you want to learn how to cost analyze a project. This is almost like reverse engineering and understanding what you can offer. There's a ton of deals out there, and we'll go into that in a little bit, but knowing what you can offer is imperative. And what I like to do is when I'm presented with an opportunity, I actually reach out to one of my contractors and ask them if they can meet me at the property so that we can walk through it together. Now, I'm not asking for them to write up a full repair scope, although if I get the property, I'll need that. But I really want for them to go through the property and give me a solid number on what it would cost to rehab that property. And to be honest, from my experience, if they're telling me it's going to cost $50,000 to rehab, when I go back and I run my numbers, I'm probably going to use $55,000 or $60,000. At times when you're walking through properties, there's things that you can't tell from walking through, like whether or not the cast iron sewer line has a crack in it, or whether or not there's actually old wiring behind some of those walls that need to be replaced. So always add a little bit on, but you want to take that cost to cure or your rehab budget, and then you want to identify what your resale value would be. You also want to identify your hold time. Now, generally, I try to use 9 months as my estimated hold time. And the reason you want to identify that is because you want to know how many mortgage payments you're going to make, how much interest there is, how many times you're going to have to pay an electric bill, how many times will you have to cut the grass, will you have to have someone remove snow if you live in one of those areas like Pennsylvania where we get snow, because all of these things impact your bottom line. And when you identify all of those things, you can then figure out what you want to offer. For example, if you know you want to create a 15% return on this particular project, the only way to determine that up front is to go over all of the things like your repair bid, your holding expenses, your maintenance costs, interest, things of that nature, and then you know what you can offer. Now, I'm sure online there are calculators and things like that to help you determine or walk through that part, or you can connect with someone educated like myself, and I can teach you exactly how to analyze a project. Now that you made it this far, you're ready for step number 4. And step number 4 is to secure your financing. Now, hopefully, as you continue to grow your business as a real estate investor, you're gonna have more and more contacts and more options. But you really wanna make sure that you have the means of financing the property. Or if you have deep pockets, offering cash. But if you don't have deep pockets, there are so many things that you can do that people are unaware of or just simply afraid to investigate. Me personally, I use a combination of hard money along with some of my own liquidity. And as of recent, I have even learned how to use credit cards. That's right, using credit cards to build leverage to buy more properties. And I can show you how to do that. And there's tons of videos on YouTube that explains exactly how you can use credit cards to your advantage. And if you have set up a business account, like I mentioned in step number 1, you might even be able to go to your financing institution and get a business loan or a business line of credit that will help you get these projects done. On to step number 5. Step number 5 is something that you should do regardless what industry you're in, and that's build relationships. Now, not only do you want to build relationships with realtors, but you also want to build relationships with vendors, people who can help you save money. Over the years, I've learned that general contractors are going to add costs that could be shaved off for things that they have to hire out. For example, most of my contractors do not install HVAC. They go and they find a third party or someone that they have a relationship with to come in and do those things. They also use things like their Home Depot business accounts and things like that to save money on appliances. But if you can create relationships and meet people who are actually vendors in all of these different fields, it's just another way for you to continue to save money and make your bottom line look a lot better. Now, keep in mind, the more you're involved in the transaction, it takes away from your time from finding other opportunities. But if it can save you money, why not? Why not get your appliances cheaper? Why not hire your own HVAC person who's not going to mark up the job for the particular work? Also, you want to consider building relationships so that you can find other deals. I've found so many deals with wholesalers over the last few years, and to be honest, it looks like the world of wholesaling is only growing larger. And if you're not familiar with what wholesaling is, it's when a person finds a property for sale, gets that property under contract, and then sells the contract to someone like myself, where there's a markup. That wholesaler is going to make a fee for finding that deal that they tied up at a lower price and is selling to me at a higher price. As a matter of fact, I've done a video on 6 different ways to find properties without finding a realtor. And I will actually link that in this video so that you can check it out. And my very last tip is to learn how to market your property. In this current real estate market, properties are selling left and right. It doesn't matter if they're marketed right or not. But at the end of the day, the market's going to shift. And that's where you're going to need to learn how to go above and beyond. Make sure that your property does stand out amongst the other properties, because as an investor, the last thing you want to do is hold on to a property for longer than you need to. And if you don't know how to market, maybe that's when you connect with someone like me, a professional realtor who knows exactly how to market your property, regardless what type of market we're in. And if that doesn't work for you, maybe you should consider getting your real estate license and joining a team like mine, because not only can you save money on your acquisition, you can also save money on your commission when you go to sell the property. So there you have it, folks. There's my 6 tips to help you become a real estate investor. Again, I'm Chris Nelson with Genstone Realty. I hope you found some value in this video. And with that being said, tune in next week for the very next episode of Just a Tip Tuesday with Chris. Until then, take care.